Optimization, high-level optimization, theoretical optimization, concept builds, power gaming, min-maxing, munchkin, the meta. All of these categories are out to achieve the same thing, really. To be effective practically, so you can survive to the conclusion of the story. The game has challenges you have to overcome. Some of these challenges, like an encounter, can kill you. Me, tabletop builds, Jinofcoolness, Form of Dread, Tramp Monk, and tons of others can give you an effective practical build. We did the math, we have the experience playing with things, or shared experience through conversations and math. Some of us have played together. I find that the optimization world is actually very small. Anyways, we can give you the very best, like an Artichron build, for example. However, there's a barrier you have to overcome alone to play this set build, and that is being invited to play the game to begin with, and staying at the game all the way to its conclusion. Of course, you want the conclusion of the story after many months or a year down the road after playing every week for 4 hours or so, because then you got the full experience of D&D. An epic long-spanning adventure with your friends or new friends you made along the way. That's the goal of the game. That's how you win D&D, and hopefully you'll treasure these adventures for years. And hey, maybe you'll play another adventure that's even more epic and you gain new friends. This is a topic in optimization we don't talk about because we assume you know how to be a reasonable human being who's super fun to play with. That's the topic of today, really. Your build, or the build we gave you, is suboptimal if you're not playing the game. You are suboptimal if people don't like you at this table. You lose if you get kicked out of games. You got no conclusion to the story. A player being an utter noob and dying in the game is a better character than what you made, because they got a conclusion at least. Sure, it's a negative one, but death is part of storytelling, so that's a win. There might be an emotional reaction, and of course that's an experience from the game. The player or other players might have cared about this character. If they're really invested, maybe they'll cry. That's some powerful storytelling. You made grown adults cry over a game that takes place in our heads. Of course you want to be a part of that. You can't be a power gamer if you're not fueling the table with fun for everyone and satisfying everyone's needs. Welcome to Pack Tactics. I don't know who you are, but when you are joining a game or coming to a game, you have to remember that there's real people playing with you. Not many, but they're part of your world and how you play D&D. Those people are the real meta of D&D. They're going to shape the way you play the game in one way or another. What do I mean by that? This is a team game, and everyone at the table have some sort of expectation and wants to experience the game in different ways from you. Chances are super high that the people you play with aren't optimizers or interested in it. That is 100% fair. Majority of people are out there to roleplay. Some do heavy roleplay like they're on Critical Role or something. Some people are there for the memes. Other people are brand new to the game and don't know what they want yet. And yada yada yada. You have to try to play off their needs. Then there's the DM. I just view the DM really as just another player. But really, the point is, you have to befriend all these people. And if you do, then the game will become way more fun. That is the key to optimization. So how do you befriend them? I don't know. You know more than me. But what I do know is they're very interested in this very nerdy hobby. And they're probably very weird. You are weird. You're getting advice from a small lizard man. But to start, I would say be nice and show interest in not only the DM's game, but also the other players' characters. Plan around them, plan with them, combo with them, make the other players feel powerful, give them the spotlight. Like, people like that. Absolutely everyone thinks about themselves. Me, my character. Okay then. Show interest in their character. For those who've seen Lord of the Rings, there's a character called Samwise Gamgee. Samwise is the most wholesome character ever in fiction, and has a ride or die relationship with Mr. Frodo. Those movies and just watching Samwise has been the most valuable lesson in D&D ever for me. No one says anything bad about Samwise. If you can embody that in your own way, obviously you have to be yourself. And this can be in-game or just generally around real people you play with. People will love you. And if people like you, you could do anything. They'll appreciate what you're doing and give you everything back in return. They're your friends. I said before that the people you play with shape the meta of the game. And they do. The DM might ban, nerf, boost, or have homebrew stuff. The players have different expectations. One might be unreasonable. One has this problem. One player might be a power gamer. One player might hate conjure animals for some reason. A player might be uncomfortable with the way someone roleplays a scenario. The DM interprets the rules this or that. Like, there's so many things. I can't predict everything. Like, if you took optimization to the most extreme, absolutely everything you do is theoretical optimization. And all my videos, all these builds, all these guides on the internet are completely useless unless you know the table you're going to join. There's also conflicts of ideas how to play the game together as a group, be it social stuff or the rules. And the best way to approach a conflict like that is to be nice about it and say your opinion and put out the argument as a friend who cares about this game. If that doesn't work, just go with the flow. You have to make compromises sometimes. You are a guest at the game. That doesn't mean that the players or the DM have full authority over you or your character. Like, you can politely leave the game anytime you want. When there's conflicts like that, you have to judge if this compromise is worth your time or not. Getting into games is super easy with technology. DMs ask for players everywhere on Roll20 and Discord servers and what have you. Chances are high their games might be better. This is a big hobby. People have been playing this game for years. Always remember, no D&D is better than bad D&D. And if you're looking for a new game on the internet, it usually takes you like 2 weeks or maybe a month for you to get in a game. You can join a pay-to-play game easily. You can play a game for free by being nice at the interview or writing an interesting backstory. Normally, if people find you fun, nice, or interesting, you can do anything. Which brings us to the next thing. Communication. The most important thing ever. You as a player probably have some sort of demand for the game. That is okay. My demand is always, I want to play a kobold with no homebrews. I also have this backstory I wish to explore. Then I ask about the rules and the setting. Like, these things are okay. If you're putting your own expectations and a few demands, then people can read you easily and judge if you're worth their time. There's no guessing here. They know what you want, and that's a huge service to everyone, especially the Dungeon Master. The DM or the players can plan for this and possibly make your experience better. In the game, there will be times you might be unhappy. Point them out as soon as you possibly can. Whatever you do, do not bottle it up. I've played in many games where the game just dies because people didn't communicate or there was a miscommunication. I know it's hard to share things sometimes, but always remember, these people you're playing with are your friends, so speak your mind and use the correct tone you actually feel. Even if they're not your friends, reasonable people want to know this. They're not going to shut you down. They're going to try to do something about it because you're playing with them. They care about you and the health of the game. If they didn't care, they would kick you out for the health of the game. Last note, and this is against optimization. People think I'm an extremist where I'm telling people what to play. That is unbelievably wrong. You can play whatever you want. 5e is an incredibly easy game. Almost everything is viable. The worst class in the game is viable. The worst subclass in the game is viable. Like, you don't need me to point out viable things because you already know them. They're everywhere. This game has been out for years. People have pointed things out. I'm just sharing my own opinions on what is optimal and showing what the cold math says about the matter. And usually I side with the math. I only play kobolds. Do you think that is optimal? I don't. I think they're viable. Why do I play them then? I find that they're mechanically and roleplay wise super interesting. So I pick them. I'm aware flavor is free. I can play custom lineage and flavor it into a kobold, but I don't. I'm not interested. I want these mechanics and I want to struggle with them. You might ask, are you a concept builder then? I'm not a builder at all anymore, but yes, I build my own concept like everyone else. The reason why I share these things about optimization is because no one's really doing the math or taking things to the most extreme. They're interesting topics. This game is alien when you look deep into it. I learned so much making these videos, and that is fun for me. But let me tell you, after a long time of judging builds and burning out, I've concluded they're not very good for optimization. Optimizers don't share my opinion on the matter. Obviously, a coffee lock, for example, is better than a monk, but from experience, it's more about the knowledge and who's in control more than anything. If you play a coffee lock you found on the internet and pick all the right things, but don't use the right spells at the right time, you suck. I find majority of coffee locks are just regular warlocks in disguise. I've seen someone play a coffee lock that only casts Hex plus Eldritch Blast in every fight for months, while our wizard was only spamming fireballs for the memes. Who do you think performed better? Obviously the wizard spamming fireballs. The wizard was a meme character, but clearly he was doing better. Did the coffee lock know that his character was only doing baseline damage and sometimes above with Quicken? No, he had fun though. That's all that matters. Who cares? We survived the fights. We got the conclusion. That's all I care about. I've DM'd for Sword build. He was a Conquest Divine type. People are afraid of this build. All he did for that whole year really was spam Healing Word and Smite sometimes. He was unbelievably conservative with resources. It always backfired. Rarely did he use his Conquering Presence. Eventually he got auras, and he never used them. He forgot about them. He got the build from a Trent Monk video. That's not Trent Monk's fault. That was his. He was basically just a fighter with Healing Word. So I've concluded the build doesn't matter that much. The player behind the character and his knowledge of the game is what matters. Anyways, the point is, this is a team game. The combos you do with your friends is what is optimal. And if you guys are comboing off each other, everyone is then useful and having fun. Because all of you are destroying encounters together. You guys are optimizing. I think you get the point. This was a rant. I feel like a YouTuber. Be fun to play with. Be a team player. Go with the flow. Don't like the game? Leave. Find a new one. Communicate with your friends. Speak your mind. Don't be obsessed with the meta. Make your own meta with your team. Don't worry about the builds. Worry about how you and the team approaches these fights. This isn't about you. This is about everyone you're playing with. That's it. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.